Hello, friends. What happens when you peel back the polished marble of Rome and look at the shadows beneath? Behind the statues, the triumphs, and the rhetoric of senators, there was another Rome, one of dimly lit rooms, whispered exchanges, and women whose stories rarely made it into history books. Today, let's step inside the ancient Roman brothel and meet the sex workers who lived in the margins, yet were woven deeply into the fabric of Roman life. Brothels in Rome weren't hidden away. They were right there in the heart of neighborhoods, sometimes just around the corner from temples and markets. The most famous, in Pompeii, is the Lupanar, named after the slang word lupa, meaning she-wolf. And its walls? Covered with erotic frescoes, like an ancient menu. These weren't just art, they were practical. Many people couldn't read, so the paintings gave a, let's say, visual guide to what was available. Inside, the rooms were small. Stone beds with straw mattresses, barely enough privacy to close a curtain. The air must have been thick with voices, laughter, arguments, coins clinking, sandals scraping. It wasn't luxury, it was business. And the business was booming. Soldiers on leave, sailors fresh from the sea, merchants traveling with coin in their purses, all of them kept the brothels busy. Sex workers ranged from enslaved women forced into the trade to freed women who registered with officials and worked independently. Some even became wealthy, managing their own establishments. Most, though, lived hard, precarious lives. But here's where it gets interesting. The graffiti. Romans loved scribbling on walls, and the brothels of Pompeii were filled with it. And some of it is hilarious. Imagine walking into a dim room, squinting at a wall, and reading, "I had a great time here with the girl for 2 asses. Myrtis loves her work. Restitutus was here and left satisfied." It's like scrolling through ancient Yelp reviews. Short, cheeky, and brutally honest. Some were romantic, some playful, some crude, but all gave a voice to people otherwise erased by history. Roman society had a love-hate relationship with prostitution. It was legal, regulated, and even defended by some moralists as a way to protect respectable women. But prostitutes themselves carried heavy stigma. They couldn't marry citizens, couldn't wear certain clothing, and were excluded from certain ceremonies. Men who visited them weren't shamed, but the women bore the social burden. A double standard that, honestly, doesn't feel so ancient after all. And then there were the paintings. Those cheeky frescoes weren't hidden in back rooms. They were boldly on the walls, laughing at prudishness. Romans saw sexuality as part of life, not something to hush away. That doesn't mean it was free of exploitation. It wasn't. But it does show a society more open about desire than many later cultures would dare to be. Picture it, a merchant squinting at a fresco, debating prices, scratching a note on the wall like Felix was here. The mix of business, banter, and human need created an atmosphere both gritty and lively. The economy of Rome, in its own way, relied on these women. They were workers in the shadows, yet their labor shaped the daily rhythm of the empire. Without them, countless soldiers, sailors, and citizens would have sought their pleasures elsewhere. And yet, if you visit Pompeii's Lupanar today, those stone beds and fading frescoes don't just make you smirk, they make you pause. Because here, in these walls, you glimpse the lives of people history almost forgot. The laughter, the graffiti scrawled in pride, the work done for survival. All of it reminds us that Rome was not just marble and emperors, it was also flesh, need, and humor. And maybe that's the real lesson. The story of Rome isn't complete without the voices scratched into plaster, the cheeky jokes, and the painted menus. History isn't only carved into marble monuments, it's also scribbled in the margins.